Hey, welcome once again on this channel. I would like to show you how to install Windows 10 on Azure. So how do we do it? Now I'm assuming that you have an Azure account that you created. I have already my account. So what we have to do is to create a resource, and then we are interested in installing Windows 10. So we type Windows 10 and then hit enter. There are different instances that are available, but we'll go with this one. So this is the Windows 10 we are interested in. We will have to choose the actual version that we have to install. So down here we will select, you can either select Windows 10 Pro or Windows 10 Enterprise or anything. So for now we'll just select Windows 10 Pro. So at this stage, this is where we have to fill in the very important information that is required. The first step is to select the subscription plan. For now, I have Azure subscription, which is free, the $200 they give you once you sign up. So this is a free credit. It's Azure subscription plan. You can also select yours. If you're already paying, then you can just go with that plan. And here is a resource group. You can create a resource group, your one, name it. I already created my own resource group, Yuga Comp, and here we will name our virtual machine, give it the virtual machine. Of course, the installation we are carrying out is going to run inside the virtual machine. So we will name this virtual machine Windows. You can name it whatever you want. And region, US East, we can leave that one. Availability options, you just leave it. Availability zone, you can leave it. And the image, we are going with Windows 10 Pro. You just leave that one. Size. So here, this is the computing resources that you are going to use to attach to your virtual machine instance. The computing resources I'm talking about include RAM, include CPU, and storage. So here we are seeing that the recommend is the standard one. They are giving us 2 CPU cores, virtual CPUs, vCPUs, and 8 GB memory, which is priced at $70 per month. So since I'm using the free 200 credit, the 200 credit, I'm just going to use that one. I'm going to select this one. Here you're going to put the username for your machine, for your computer. Just like any computer, when you're running Windows, you must have a username and a password, the login credentials. So here I'm going to put Yuga Comp as my username, and I'm going to put my password. And here, the public inbound ports. We are going to allow some ports to function on this machine, and the most important one is the RDP port. RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol. This protocol is very important in enabling us to access our machine from Azure data centers remotely to our local machines. What am I meaning here is that we use remote desktop on Windows to access another Windows machine remotely. So we are going to use a remote desktop connection to access our machine, which is located somewhere in the Azure data center. So we have to allow this RDP to run on this machine for us to be able to access this machine using Windows Remote Desktop connection. So we are going to allow this. And also there is this warning here. It says this will allow all IP addresses to access your virtual machine. This is only recommended for testing. Now, if you are going to run this machine for production environment or enterprise setting, you have to whitelist the IP addresses that allow to connect or to access this machine. You can only do that using some firewall rules, and that one I will show you how to do that. Now, licensing. I confirm I have an eligible Windows 10 license with multi-tenant hosting rights. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to select I confirm and then click next. For now, we have to select the OS disk type. Let's select standard SSD. You can also select HDD, but SSD is better for faster performance. And then select networking. Networking, I think there's little we can do about changing about this one. Maybe the most important part here again, if you want also to select more ports to be configured onto your machine, you can also select SSH. If you want to SSH into this machine, you can select it. If you want your machine to be available via the World Wide Web, which is you can select HTTPS and HTTP, but for now we are going with RDP, so we don't have to configure any other port for now. If you want all the other functionalities to work on your machine, then you have to select them. If you want your website to be, your machine to be accessed via HTTP and HTTPS, you have to select these ports. But if you don't want, then you just have to leave them out. And then we will continue next. And next, you just have to leave everything the way it is. Don't have to change anything. And next, advanced, you just have to leave everything. Now, if you want to select the second generation VM virtual machine, you can select Gen 2, but for now I'm going with generation 1. So this is the time for us to create and provision and create our machine. So review and create. So it is telling us, the system is telling us we have passed the validation process, and it is also telling us the amount of money they are going to charge us per hour. They are going to charge us $0.096 per hour. You can see the pricing for other VM sizes if you want. So this warning is very critical. It is telling us that you have set RDP ports open to the internet. This is only recommended for testing. If you want to change this setting, go back to basic tab. Now, this RDP, we have to limit it to only our IP address for the local machine that we are going to use to access RDP, to access the machine remotely. You can do that by getting your IP address, the public IP address of your machine. You can just type into Google search or any search engine and say, what is my IP address? And you will get your IP address. And that IP address you get, I will show you how to use it to whitelist it and then block other IP addresses that could access your machine without your knowledge. Now, let's create the machine, the virtual machine. It has Windows, it's provisioning right now. So we have to be patient. It may take some time when it is provisioning. The system is telling us it is initializing deployment. So the deployment is in progress. We just have to be patient a little bit as we wait for further instructions. It may take some bit of time, and I may have to wait until the deployment process is complete, and then we will have to configure our RDP access to the virtual machine. So what I urge you is to, sometimes patience pays. That's the saying they always told me when I was young, that patience pays. Okay, now our machine is already deployed. We can go to our resource and see. So what you see here is that the machine is running. It has Windows, it is running, and it is also assigned a public IP address. You can see that the operating system is Windows. The size, it is running standard disk. Also, it is running 2 CPU cores and 8 GB of memory. Now, how do we access this machine for us to use it? To access the machine, as I told you, the purpose of RDP is to use it for remote access using Windows Remote Desktop Protocol. Now, what we are going to do is to copy our public IP addresses and go to our local machine and open or click on Remote Desktop Connection app. If you don't know how to get it, you just have to come here and search a remote desktop and it will come. So you click and then you type here. This is where we type in the IP address. So the IP address we are going to use is this one, the public IP address. Copy and then paste. After that, we want to put the username for our machine. the username for our machine that you use when you are creating it. We can call it yoga comp. It's save credentials, and let's try to connect and see what will happen. Okay, now it is asking us to put a password. So the password, remember the password we created when we're configuring the machine. That's the same password you have to use here. So you put password, and then hit enter. So you wait. So this one is telling us the identity of the local computer cannot be verified. Do you want to connect anyway? Yes. Don't ask this again. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, you can see that we configured Windows on Azure, and then we are accessing that Windows instance on our local machine. Isn't that cool? It's just cool. The extraordinary power of cloud computing is that these days you don't have to buy so many computers to access to use computing power. I don't have to own different hardware to use computing resources. All I can do is to use cloud computing systems or platforms like Azure and fire up any server instance I want. So here, this is just basic information for any Windows installation machine. You can just say accept and continue. Okay, so we are already in our Windows. So this is our Windows. This is our Windows. As you can see, I'm running this Windows machine remotely. This is a Windows machine remotely. I'm not if I minimize it, this is my computer. So this is my computer, and this is the remote computer I'm using. I can do whatever I want with this machine. I can even download I can download Google Chrome for this Windows and install it. You see how fast it is download. Oh, it is already downloading. It's downloaded here, so I was downloading multiple times. So let's click install.